Hey guys, my name is Josh Smith. I'm the CEO of Montana Knife Company. I'm very excited about this new knife that we're dropping today. It is the Great Falls Skinner, but it's not a skinning knife for hunting. It is a lineman knife. So what is a lineman knife? I was a journeyman lineman for the power company. Those are the guys that are working on your power lines. They're keeping your lights on at night. They're responding in the winter, during storms, during hurricanes, all that stuff. And in that job, you need a knife on you all the time. And there's a lot of different purposes that we use these blades for, and there's a reason for the shape behind this blade as well. So we skin a lot of wire when we're making connections. We'll use these knives to, terminate, different connections, wrapping armor rod on the wire, which is not really exactly what you should be using to do that. But as you get to that finishing place on that armor rod, you kind of pry it around, opening boxes, all the cutouts, all the different stuff that you receive to build a power pole structure. So the shape of this knife is really designed for skinning wire. This is kind of a hawkbill style. It kind of comes down in here. If you drop this tip drops down here and you're using this section to skin a lot of wire, it's round. A lot of times you're pulling that towards you. And a lot of that jacketing on that cable can get really hard, especially in the winter around here when that jacketing is cold. It takes a lot of force. And so this knife has to be robust, strong, hold a good edge. And I think what I'm most excited about is the fact that these linemen a lot of times don't know what they're missing. This is an example of what we were using at work when I was a lineman. This is just a cheap knife that the utilities provide. Guys don't really take good care of them. They lose them all the time. They're kind of a throwaway knife. Super soft steel. They don't hold an edge. And I didn't even really like the design that much for what we're doing. So you see the difference in these two blades. This knife is about the same overall length at 9 1/8 inch, but there's actually a little bit more blade to this. Another feature on this knife, and you're wondering, what is this ring for right here? Well, there's a couple purposes to that. First and foremost, this is your hotline tool connection. So like in a shotgun, which is a 8-foot stick that you use to touch the power line with. That way you're in a safe area, you're away from the power line, you don't have to have rubber gloves and all that stuff on. You can reach up and maybe cut baling wire or baling twine out of a power line that an osprey has dropped. You could skin a little bit of wire with it, something like that. That shotgun goes right up in here and it sucks it down into that tool. And this handle is somewhat square in here, so it indexes into that tool so it doesn't wiggle and flop all around. And then you can go up and do that work with your shotgun tool. The other reason for this ring here is we hang that ring on our tools. So this is my tool belt here. It hangs right off the side of your tools. So when you're up on the power pole and you need to do something, you can just reach down and clip it. You can cut whatever you need to cut and then clip it back on your belt. It just hangs free with no sheath and all that. However, another thing that's different that linemen aren't used to is we are actually providing a Kydex sheath for it. And this Kydex sheath's a little different than our hunting knives. It actually has a ring loop right here where you can actually hang this knife. Now, you could hang that off of your tools right here. I don't think most linemen will do that. They'll probably hang it off of this ring. But you can hang this in the bin of your truck, maybe on a door of a bin where it's easily accessible. There's a lot of different places that you can hang this. The other thing that you can do, linemen are notorious for mounting things to the back of their line truck, their bucket truck, even hanging this in their bucket. You could take this clip off and actually mount through these holes like on the back of the line truck. So this knife is always handy. It's in a sheath. It's where you can grab it. It's secure and it's safe. The other difference between this knife and these cheap knives is this thing is sharp. Okay, so you're gonna have to beware because if you're cutting jacket off a wire and you've got aluminum wire, this knife is gonna shave the aluminum off as well. So just be cautious when you go to use this. These are very, very sharp. Linemen are used to being very reckless with their blades because these things generally aren't sharp at all. I can just run my fingers on this thing, it's not gonna cut you. This is sharpened like our hunting knives. The advantage to that is the fact that you can skin that really hard jacket with much less force. We see a lot of linemen with elbow issues, with shoulder issues, neck issues, back issues. That stuff is hard. You spend 30 years of your career, 40 years of your career skinning wire and putting lots of force. Your knuckles, your joints in your hands, and your elbows really pay the price. So this knife is gonna really go through that wire easy and it's gonna make you much less fatigued at the end of the day. The other feature that this blade has is this little scraping feature back here. Again, if you're going to make a connection on some copper wire and it's got some, some corrosion, some patina built up on it, you can scrape that wire here on that blade to clean that up so you get a nice, clean, good connection, a good electrical connection where you're not burning your wire down. And instead of using the blade to do that, you can use this back here on the back of the blade. Our handle is G10. It's very tough material. It's going to put up to any conditions linemen are going to put it through. We have some texture a little bit on this handle from the milling, so it's not slick. The other reason that this handle is a little bit fatter, more square, bigger handle than what you might see normally on a hunting knife is we wear thick rubber gloves a lot of time if you're in a state where you're allowed to rubber glove like we are here in Montana. So when you're holding that, it's hard in rubber gloves to squeeze. And so this knife is going to be easy to hold on in your rubber gloves as you're up there working and you don't have a lot of dexterity. The one thing and the most important thing I want to say, this knife is not dielectric. We have a steel blade and we have a steel tang that comes through back here to where it hooks on this ring. All this is steel, so do not use this knife without your rubber gloves, without using your safety precautions that you all should be using. You should never be using this knife on any energized, even a knife that is dielectric or they claim is. You are right here. If you're skinning wire, you are right here by an energized wire. So you should always have your rubber gloves on anytime you're in that approach distance. So just to be clear, it's not dielectric. Do not use this with leather gloves or no gloves on energized wire. Guys, so that's the Lineman knife. I'm very excited about this. The one thing I'll say is, like, why would we make a knife like this? Do I expect to sell tons and tons of these knives to our normal customers? Not necessarily, but I'm running this company with my background. My background is blue collar type work, working in the excavation world, working in the ditch, and also working as a lineman. And linemen are critical to the operation of our country, keeping your lights on, keeping your house warm. And linemen need good tools on the job. And we spend a lot of money on our tools in the lineman trade. And then we have an afterthought of a knife, much like hunters have done for a long time. We have an afterthought on a knife, but the knife is actually one of your key tools on the job. So that's our Great Falls Skinner, named after Great Falls, Montana. It's the electric city in Montana. There's 5 hydro dams around Great Falls. It's known as the Electric City, so that's why we called it the Great Falls Skinner after Great Falls, Montana. I hope you guys will love this knife. I know the lineman buddies of mine around here are going to. Thanks.